بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضاه. أما بعد. In this lesson, inshallah, we're going to speak about the sixth nullifier of the fast, the sixth matter which nullifies a person's fast. The authors say, السادس نية الفطر. The sixth nullifier, the intention to break the fast. The intention to break the fast. This is something which breaks a person's fast. فَمَنْ نَوَى الْفِطْرَ قَبْلَ وَقْتِ الْإِفْطَارِ وَهُوَ صَائِمٌ بَطَلَ صَوْمُهُ. Whoever intends to break their fast before the time of iftar, before the time of breaking the fast has come in, while he is fasting, then his fast is null and void. Whoever intends to break their fast prior to the time, then their fast is null and void. وَإِن لَمْ يَتَنَاوَلْ مُفْتِرًا. Even if he does not physically invalidate it. Even if he does not physically invalidate it. فَإِنَّ النِّيَّةَ أَحَدُ رُكْنَيْ الصِّيَامِ. Because the intention is one of the two pillars of fasting. We mentioned a correction that it's not really a pillar, it's actually a shart, because it comes before the act of worship. It's not within the act of worship. It's not something that's the act of worship is built upon, but it precedes it. Just like tahara is a shart, it's a condition for salah. It's not part of salah, it's a condition because it precedes it. This is a correction that we mentioned several times. So, فَإِنَّ النِّيَّةَ أَحَدَ رُكْنَيْ الصِّيَامِ فَإِذَا نَقَضَهَا قَاصِدًا الْفِطْرَ وَمُتَعَمِّدًا لَهُ انتقض صيامه. فَإِذَا نَقَضَهَا قَاصِدًا. So if he invalidates his intention, he disregards his intention, which was to fast, yani to draw closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by refraining from all those things which nullify the fast. If he nullifies this intention, yani intending to break his fast, he nullifies that intention by doing the contrary, which is to break the fast. وَمُتَعَمِّدًا لَهُ. And he intends to break his fast deliberately, willingly. انتقض صيامه. His fast is nullified. His fast is nullified. So the sixth nullifier is a person intending to break his fast while fasting. And this is something which invalidates the fast, with the condition that the person, he has a firm resolve without any hesitation that he is going to break his fast. This firm resolve, al-azm is called in Arabic, al-azm, this is something which nullifies the person's fast. Even if he didn't drink, even if he didn't eat, even if he didn't physically do anything which nullifies the fast, even if he changed his mind afterwards, he says, okay, after he's intended to break his fast, he goes back on his words and on his intention and says, I'm going to continue fasting. So for example, a person, he says he's driving or he's traveling, for example, and then while he's traveling, he's fasting. It's permissible for a person to fast, as we mentioned. We covered this previously. So he's traveling and he's fasting. Then he says, if I get to the next petrol station, I'm going to break my fast. So he gets to the petrol station and then he goes to the food section and everything is expired. There's nothing available to eat. So he says, no, that's it. There's nothing to eat for me here. So I've already fasted already, so let me just continue with my fast. In this case, his fast is null and void because he intended to break his fast. But when it came to the food, because he didn't find any food, he wanted to go back on that intention and continue fasting. Even in this case, his fast is null and void. And the evidence for this is the hadith that we've taken previously, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions are based on their intentions. So whoever intends to break their fast, that's what he's going to receive, that he has broken his fast. And we mentioned previously that the niyyah is a shart. The niyyah is a condition. The niyyah is a condition for the validity of the fast. And it's something which comes before the actual act of worship. You intend before you begin the fast. Before Fajr, you have to have intended. طيب. Okay. The second matter is the shurut, the conditions. The conditions for acts of worship to be valid. These things, even though they commence before the actual act of worship, they have to continue throughout the act of worship until the end. The scholars of fiqh, they say this is called istishab, and in particular istishab al-hukm, hukm niyyah. It has to be there from the start until the end. An example of that is wudu, for example. Wudu is a shart. We're saying that the shart, even though it comes before the act of worship, you do wudu before praying, it has to be there, remain there until the end. Yani the tahara has to be there from the beginning until the end of the prayer. From the beginning of the prayer until the end. So if a person is praying and he nullifies his tahara, he invalidates his tahara, the prayer is null and void. And the same thing here. If a person, he intends to fast, it has to continue to have that intention. The intention has to be there, hukman. The ruling of that intention has to remain there until the end. If he nullifies and negates that intention, then the intention ceases and he's invalidated that shart, which has to be maintained until the end of the act of worship. طيب. And this is something which can be applied to all acts of worship. Like for example, a person now, if he intends, the scholars mention, if he intends to leave the salah. طيب. Intention is also from the conditions of salah. من شروط الصلاة صحة الصلاة النية. So if a person during the salah, he intends in his heart that I'm going to leave the salah, I'm leaving this, I'm not praying no more. His prayer is null and void, even if he doesn't speak, he doesn't eat, he doesn't do anything which negates the fast. طيب. Similar to the tahara. If he invalidates his tahara while he's praying, his prayer is null and void. طيب. So this is the 6th nullifier which is mentioned in the book, but according to what we've taken, this is the 5th. طيب. We'll stop here. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.